used to be this thing called an arcade. You get quarters, you go down there and
quarters. Could they even pick a quarter out of a change lineup?
A quarter, yeah, but it gets dicey after that.
Welcome to the Chip and Cern Show, the podcast about everything and nothing at the same time. They were possibly separated at birth, only to be rejoined to create the sweet sounds that will caress your deepest cochlea. The show is real, random, rant-filled, and ruthless. Please be warned that this show may hurt your feelings, offend your grandma, and even kick your dead dog in the balls. So get ready, and let's get this shit started.
This shit has started. I'm Chip.
I'm Cern.
And you are listening to the Chip and Cern Show.
Yes, once again, or possibly for the very first time.
I can't imagine someone that comes across a Chip and Cern Show and is like, I'm going to press play on this one. I need to meet people that do this because I'm curious. I have a lot of questions for you.
Meet and greet.
We'll have a little meet and greet. We'll have a little one-on-one sesh. Well, we're doing a little earlier. At the daylight savings, the time fell back. Chip and Cern Show recording time also fell back to align with daylight savings.
The sun's actually still out at this moment.
It's still out. Cerny, are you? I don't imagine you're a fan of the daylight savings time. Well, what are we in? We fell.
I think we're on standard time. So daylight savings ended, so now we're on standard time.
Okay, so I'm a fan of daylight savings time.
Yes,
I think we should just go year round on this. 365
because it's like darker earlier. You know, the constant changing kicks my ass for like a couple weeks.
It does. It takes you out of it, and by the time you get a handle on it, they're swapping it back.
Snip, snap.
Now, the thing I don't get, like the thing I really don't like is it's 4:30 and it's like almost pitch black outside. So anything you want to do after work or at the tail end of your workday, it's got to be done in the darkness. I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
I don't need that.
You need a headlamp.
I really despise headlamps. So I guess I do appreciate a little bit that if I do some of my runs early in the morning, that there's less likelihood of a headlamp needed, but still, I'd rather have the headlamp before work, not after work. That's just my stance on it.
I agree with that.
We're aligned.
Too. It's the worst though when you get up and it's dark, and you go back and then you go home from work and it's dark. That was the worst. Dark to dark.
Yeah, you feel it does put you into a weird headspace where it's like, you know, like you're trapped. You're trapped. Like, is it day? The days blend.
Constant nighttime.
Constant night. It's it's like in Alaska that, they have 22 hours of daylight for 3 weeks of the thing. I don't get how people can do that stuff.
Yeah. Go from one extreme to the other.
Jeez. Yeah. I guess you don't have many people to talk about these problems with up there. There's just like moose.
Yeah.
Iditarod and all this shit, but there's not a lot of people up there. I guess that's probably why you live in Alaska.
Yeah, it's seclusion.
Yeah, get away from folks. I did a little traveling this weekend. I had an athletic endeavor. I went to Austin, Texas.
What place? Did you?
I actually got second place. So we came home with what they call hardware. We got some hardware to take home. So it took us by surprise, but we flew into Austin, which Austin's whole shtick is like stay weird. That's their thing. They're weird. They got that's where Voodoo Donuts was invented with the cereal on top of the donut. Which have you had a Voodoo donut before?
No, this is the first I'm hearing about this so-called donut.
Okay, so it's your regular donut. Let's say it's a maple bar. What's your go-to?
Glazed.
Just a glaze, just normal. Okay, so they'll just have the glaze, but they'll call it the Captain Crunch, and they just sprinkle fucking Captain Crunch on top of it, and then they have a maple bar with like 2 slices of bacon on the top. And I've
had to have that.
Okay, so it's the same. It's that kind of like fancy type donut.
Okay, I can sign off on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to try one out, but it's a lot to eat, cereal stuff on top of donuts.
Yeah, I know.
And how many donuts can you really down it?
One.
That second donut, while it seems like a good idea initially, about halfway through, I am like overwhelmed with regret usually.
Regret and shame,
and my stomach is instantly hurting.
Oh shit!
So we were there in Austin, and we flew in and everything, and they're being weird there. That's their whole thing. And they're one thing. How it's kind of the trend. Sometimes some might call it a hipster thing about what's old is new again. So they're wearing the old like pork pine newsboy caps and like Doc Marten shoes and all, like they're just pushing the envelope. One area that I've not seen the hipster what's old is new again is luggage. You don't see people going around with the big trunk, like with the big
leather trunk.
And I was thinking the last time
wood on the inside, like bamboo or some shit. Yeah.
And so, because the reason why I thought of this is because there was like this hipster couple, and they were all hipster looking, and I think he might even had like a fucking newspaper under his arm or something, like it's the 40s. And I looked and I said, even their shoes had to be unique. Their pant, everything was, but their luggage was modern day luggage. And I said, at least they've like kind of like hit the senses on the practicality of some of these things.
Well, it's funny because the kids these days, so there's two high schoolers here, and they like to shop at the thrift store.
Hey, that's good for the wallet.
That's like the big spot, I guess, for the youngins.
For the vintage, because you find some vintage.
Yeah, they dress kind of.
Threads.
So I always make fun of Melanie. I said she came down for school one day, and she had like a sweater that was like checkered, like and like it looked like. I asked her when her after school was she going to play cribbage, because she looked like she's like a 90-year-old lady.
Oh, it's the grandpa threads or the grandma threads.
Yeah, like a thrift shop.
Yeah.
Macklemore's asking where he gets grandpa style. That's it. Like that's
yeah.
Like I was like, "Are you going to play cribbage after this?" She's like, "Oh." So then the next day she comes down and she has like a skirt. She looks like she's going to play tennis. I said, "Tennis practice after school, right?" Yeah. So it's like a new thing now every day. So then she comes down like today she had like these long like baggy clothes and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, "You going to the soup kitchen after this, right?" So nothing but eye rolls.
Yeah. I better start hanging on to my stuff then. If my kids are going to need it in 10 years.
They don't.
I don't know.
There's even some crossover between Zach and Melanie, kind of crossover with like the baggy clothes and stuff. And I was like, oh, okay. That's, whatever. That's just kind of weird that Zach could fit into his sister's clothes,
Yeah.
or vice versa.
Okay. And the styles are fluid between, like, I think you could probably take and mix match a little bit. And I think it wouldn't be a problem.
No, it's not a problem. And for a while there, because Melanie wears like baggy, that's where she got like her Nirvana t-shirt and asked me if I ever heard of them. I was like, what the fucking serious?
I will always give kids a pass, or young adults a pass on that, because I have specifically one memory etched in my head of as I was discovering music, and Cerny, I was a little bit sheltered. Like my parents weren't taking me to concerts. They weren't, tuning into the VH1 or catching any of the music videos on TRL or anything like
MTV,
that.
I know.
Yeah, no, it wasn't happening. So all this discovery was left up to me. And somewhere along my path was I came across the Eagles, small little band out of Southern California. Got a couple hits, just a few.
Little garage band, yeah.
Yeah. And I remember telling a teacher, like, hey, have you ever heard of the Eagles? I just got their greatest hits CD from Walmart. Yeah. I'll tell you, it's got a couple solid ones on there. So I don't know if you heard of the Eagles, but this is just a tip from a 17-year-old to a 45-year-old man.
If you want, I can flash you the CD. I'll lend it to you. I'll burn you a copy.
I'll burn you a copy. I got a pretty sick RW plus and RW minus CD-ROM. I could burn it on, and then I could also minus that shit right off and burn it on again, baby. You just let me know. I'll burn and unburn. So I will give the kids a pass on the have you heard of the... But I have been getting that already from the 6-year-old.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's... I get it. It'll become more and more like, there's just
frequent. Like... The frequency is going to start increasing?
Yeah, some of the shit that comes my way, it's like, yes, the world did exist before you were alive.
Man, I forgot what exactly the it was like a game.
Pokemon or something?
It was like Pokemon or maybe a board game or something, and Charlie was like, Dad, you know what life
Clue?
Is? Or
yeah,
Clue
life.
Or Scrabble or something? I'm like, yep.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think I got Street Fighter. That was the one. That was one I got.
Street Fighter.
It was making a comeback.
That was the jam when we were
mobile app on a phone.
Oh, and right.
They were whatever it was in the, and I was like, oh, they're showing me this. Like, here's this game, and I was watching them play. I was like, Street Fighter. They're like, Street Fighter? I was like, that fucking game's older than my brother. And they're like, no, it's not. It's new. I said, no, it's not. Fuck out of here.
Well, I mean, to be fair, they probably are like, have you heard of Minecraft? And you're like, what? And you're like, what the fuck is this? So we're giving kids a lot of signals of like, what the fuck are you doing? What is this game with just blocks and squares?
Oh my God. Yeah.
But then, yeah.
But then when I said Street Fighter, like, it's new. I was like, no, it's not. Like, yeah, it is. I said, no, it's not. I said, there used to be this thing called an arcade. You get quarters, you go down there and
quarters. Could they even pick a quarter out of a change lineup?
A quarter, yeah, but it gets dicey after that.
A nickel? Do they know what president is on the nickel?
Oh, not a chance. There's
no
not even
chance?
a president on the nickel.
That's true. Trick question. We got him. Just a slave owner.
Hamilton?
Wait, Jefferson's not on the nickel?
Oh, I'm sorry. Hamilton's on a $10 bill. I was thinking 10. Sorry.
Okay.
Yes. So he was a president. I'm sorry.
Yes, Thomas Jefferson was. He was also a slave owner too.
Yeah.
Hamilton's the one that shot Jefferson, no?
No, Hamilton
was
shot by Aaron Burr.
Yes, I saw the Hamilton play on Disney Plus. Did you catch that one?
No, I haven't.
Oh, that's very good. I thought it was good. I think your dad would like it. I don't know how historically accurate it is, but it is very.
Is there a lot
catchy.
of singing?
Yes,
I could guarantee he's out. He does.
But I feel like, have you seen Book of Mormon?
No,
man. Okay, well, I'm with you. I usually am not a musical or a theatrical inclined person, but we did see Book of Mormon, and although there was singing, I was laughing the whole time.
LOL.
Yes, it was. I couldn't stop it.
So they could probably do a nickel. I bet you if we got to the rare pieces, like a 50 cent or $1.
No chance. Sacagawea?
Especially the dollar. Yeah, especially the dollar, because the faces change and stuff like that, so they probably have no idea.
Oh yeah.
But in Sacagawea, Susie B. Anthony, that fucking loop.
There was like, even if they got it, it's like, what did she do? Why is she on this?
Yeah.
There's no.
Who's this?
Huh?
Who's this person?
Huh?
Suffrage. What?
Someone that suffered? We put him on a coin? No, more or less. More or less. It's probably suffering on the sewing machine, putting that flag together.
I think it's Betsy Ross.
Yeah. What did Susan B. Anthony do?
Women's suffrage.
Suffrage. Rights. Oh yeah, we were just talking about suffrage. Anyway, see, all my references are this daylight savings time dropping. Really got me screwed up, Cerny.
My dad's calling me right now. He's about to he's coming in with a grade. Chip gets an F.
Oh boy! I definitely wasn't in that AP history class. That's for goddamn sure. I was. I got into the, like the joke of a history teacher that I finished the year above 100% credit points, like 104 or something.
Yeah, I didn't get him. I got tougher teachers.
Yeah, I mean, you got someone that actually was trying.
Yeah, and my dad had oversight, so I wasn't getting a cakewalk. According to him.
Well, if he had any doing and me getting the cakewalk teacher, thanks for doing me the solid. Because it would be every morning. It's like, all right, for 25 extra credit points, who wants to go walk to the office and get mail? And I was like, oh, I'd love to do that. And he goes,
not be in class.
Yeah. I'm like, hold on. So you're giving me a senior carte blanche to go walk to the office, which will be nothing faster than a leisurely stroll. I'm probably going to throw a dip in. I'll probably throw a lip of skull straight in. Go get that mail, see who I can chat up with on the way, maybe text Cerny, maybe text my girlfriend.
Yeah, actually, I think you did text a lot in the mornings.
Hey, man, I'm getting the mail. You want to come with? It's like, yeah, I got to
go. I was TA, so I was like, yeah, sure.
Oh, nice. Just look at the racket we had for ourselves, even back in high school.
I know.
Yeah, so I had so much cushion into the grading that even a test that I would score, let's just say I came in at an 80, I still had enough points accumulated. Oh, yeah. And there was all of these were I didn't really like the teachers that didn't do the curve. Like, I understand.
Yeah, I remember they always threatened to do the true curve. If you want a curve, you get the true curve, which means I have to have the same amount of A's, F's, and the same amount of B's as D's, and then C's are in the middle. It was like,
oh boy.
So like I had a couple of those teachers that threatened that.
Why would you don't you want your kid? I mean, I get you don't want to pull if half the class is failing and they deserve to fail, you don't want to pull them along, but
no, yeah. So I always got the true bell curve.
That's pretty ruthless.
Oh, shit.
I'm glad that didn't happen.
No, but yeah, some of those teachers, you think about it, like when you're a kid, you're like, even in high school, you're still obviously a kid, so you don't think about it. But then you come back, you look back, you're like, what the fuck are you doing?
It is kind of like, why were you not trying so hard, but why were you just fucking with kids so much? Why are you trying to make our lives difficult? They're already difficult enough.
Or the other way. You're supposed to be their teacher. Like, oh, fuck it. I'm handing out this and that, whatever.
I'm going to pop in another DVD. I'm going to watch something. There's got to be, instead of that, now it's probably YouTube. Let me dial up a YouTube video and we'll do a little stream along.
Oh, I assume. It's funny too. I was thinking about this. So you and I got pretty good at the points game. Like, you would look up so many points, in class, for doing this and that, and then you during the midterm, you could calculate here's the absolute worst I could get.
Yes.
Grade. The kids today, zero idea about how points or grade. It's insane. Like, I still get asked this by high schoolers. I took this test and I only missed 2. What did I get? And I always say, is it 2 out of 4? Is it 2 out of 100? Is it 2 out of 20? I mean, I can't fucking tell you unless I know the root.
Yeah, no.
How many points possible? Is each point worth the same? They're like, I don't know. It's like, well, I can't fucking tell you that. So, but then, they get this where they start I don't feel like doing this. I don't feel like doing that. And I'm like, you got to do this. You can't eat your grade away. I'm telling you right now, especially because they have the same kind of block schedule we did. I said, you're going into Christmas, you ain't going to want to do shit. No. The same way you're going into summer. You don't want to do shit at the end. So you might as well just rack it up now and coast into the grade.
Yes, that was our specialty. And I deployed the similar strategy in college to less effectiveness. Unfortunately, though, but
college, you got to kind of be on it all the time.
Yeah, you got to do beyond it a little bit more. But yeah, in high school, it was always okay, or even in college, you can figure hey, if you just need the C or the B or whatever, maybe you just skip the test, the final. If it's only if that's a little bit too. That's a bold move. That was too bold for me.
Well, yeah, I get.
Usually,
not that good.
I was more concerned with the drop dead line and what my grade was looking like there, and the prospects of passing.
Going to get a W. Like, okay, well, I think a W's better than it. So fuck it.
That is is that better than D or F? So I'll take it. I'll take it. Yeah, there was one anatomy class I took because originally my major was going to be kinesiology. So body mechanics and
sports medicine
and all that stuff. And one of the required classes is anatomy. So we had a cadaver in our class, and one of the tests was literally there was all these pins, like sewing needles with numbers on them, like number little flags, and they would it'd be stuck into a muscle, and then there would be just a sheet of like 1 through 30, and you would have to go 7, and you'd have to write like bicep. Or you'd have to know. Shit. And I mean, that's literally the worst type of thing that I could handle. Like that type of memorization and that stuff, I just couldn't do it. I took that test and I was like, this isn't looking good for me in this class. And I just had such a gut feeling that I wasn't going to do good. Got the results back, and then like the drop day was on that Friday, and I was like, all right, it's been real, everybody, but I'm getting the fuck out of this.
Well,
here class.
It's time to be the old dusty trail.
Time for me. Does anybody know where you can find a change of major form? I need to declare a new major.
Or you can just go Michael Scott and just declare it out to the ether.
I declare big
I declare marketing.
Funny enough, I did declare it, and I guess it's worked out thus far.
That's why I picked it.
Yeah.
That's why I picked it.
But funny enough, out of all the jobs that I've had, and people are like, oh, what's your, it's always like a joke. It's like, oh, you work in, customer marketing. Like, oh, what school did you go to? What was your major? And they're like, oh, literature and arts or something. And I'm usually the only one that says mine was actually in marketing. Everyone else has something else. But I don't know. I don't feel like I have a leg up because of, that piece of paper. But
it's the more I've been in the business world. It does. You learn most of it, obviously, on the job doing shit.
Yeah.
But I would say that doing the college, and obviously it's not for everybody, but for at least for us, I think it's when situations come up that probably hasn't come up before, you kind of have that background to be able to solve it from better than.
That's a really good point. You kind of have a multitude of different experiences to pull from that you learned in college, problem solving, like more critical thinking than if you.
Yeah, you have case studies and stuff. You always do all these little things and you solve them as a group and you kind of break it down. And it may not be the exact same, but it kind of creates that muscle to where you're like, oh, I think I remember doing something like this.
That's a good point, Cerny. I'm going to give you this one. That was a good one. But you do learn a lot on the job, I feel. Yeah, but that's more, that's most things. Now, one thing that they don't really teach you how to navigate too well in college is whenever the group project, when you got the dud teammate, what do you do?
That's the tough part because it's one of those like you have to learn because in the work setting because they start doing that shit, and then when you get out of there in the work setting, like either A, I'd fucking fire his ass, or B, you tell your boss like, hey, this guy ain't doing shit, get rid of him, or replace him or whatever it is.
Yeah,
that's the one part because I always had this guy. One guy had like he had like every excuse. I swear to in the book. Like, he got bit by a brown recluse spider or some shit. It was fucking wild. Like he had like fantastic. I'm not surprised he like didn't pull out like he got abducted by aliens or some fucking crazy shit. Yeah, I remember the brown recluse spider. I was like, what the fuck?
What? Where did he pull that one from? Brown recluse. Were you chopping up wood?
Yeah. Were you
shoring up cords of wood?
Was it hiding in the banana Safeway and you fucking got bit when you picked him up? Get out of here.
Right. Yeah. Did you? Oh, you passed out after a bender at Stingers and it crawled on you when you were in the gutter.
That's basically probably what it was. He missed everything. It was always something like, Oh, yeah, I called into work, which was fine. I mean, I get that, but then it was like, it snowballed from there. He never showed up to anything. And then he just showed up, but, miraculously,
on the day of the presentation,
he was tapping in. I was like, no,
right there.
Nope.
Pressed shirt.
Get out. Your name's not even on here. Get.
Oh, I would do that move where I wouldn't even include them. And then when you like send the test, when you send it in, you just write a little note like, this person.
We had to pick up the slack.
We had to pick the slack up. Nothing was better though. Depends who was running the group. Because if there's 5 people up there for the presentation, you have Joe Schmo who did nothing, and then you kick it to him for a slide or two. Just like, oh, Joe, why don't you?
Yeah,
and then they're just like, huh? And they just look so fucking stupid in front of everybody.
And they just turn their back and they read the slide. They just
read off the slide. And you're like, oh, okay.
Would you like to elaborate, Mr. Schmo?
Any color you need to add to that, or I mean, the teachers can see right through it. That's the thing.
Yeah, they know.
So that's why I just kick it over to Joe Schmo to see what they got there.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Oh man, those ones. I would always you got to punch the script up a little bit with a couple lofts, and then once the class gets loosened up, then you can go into your lukewarm research.
Yeah, I think I did. I had a communications class. I did that where I drummed up some laughs. I did some some stuff, and it was pretty.
It's good. It sets the table. But those were always good days to just take the pass on missing that class when you're like, okay, the next 2 weeks are going to be final presentations, and you're not going until the second Thursday. Well, maybe just take the Tuesday off. You could polish up the slides a little bit, and then the next ones after you presented, no fucking chance you're showing up.
Not a chance. I've already presented, and this is your final grade. There will be no final, right? They used to do that too after the presentation. Like,
peace.
That was it. I was gone.
Hey, Sterling, let's go to round table. Let's get a couple beers. Let's get some beers. Or we'll go to Hooters, maybe.
Oh yeah, back then that was
tended to do back in the day.
Or remember we used to go to Teriyaki to go. Oh. Or I love teriyaki, or one of whatever.
The one that was across the street, or the one in Roseville?
I think it was one in Roseville. Remember we used to
the rice bowls?
Hop in the car and drive over there.
Yeah, that was like an hour of driving for lunch.
We never returned back to campus.
Getting to lunch was always fine because when you just have one class and it's like 1:45 and it's Thursday. I don't know. It's just. I didn't feel compelled to attend very often.
No. Especially like, what are we doing today? Oh, I'll read. I remember it's like you talk yourself into like, I'll just read the chapter myself, and then you never did that anyway.
Yeah, you're like, I'll do that, and then I'll email so and so for the notes. You're like, wait, I don't even have the book.
Yeah, I did that a lot too.
And then I remember spending tons of time trying to find like pirated versions or like PDFs.
Oh yeah, the Fell Off the Truck special.
Yeah,
I remember a teacher got mad at me once for that. Like, do you like? It was like, it was this book. I remember specifically. What? It was like accounting, like it was like accounting 4 or some fucking shit.
Ooh.
Yeah, and it was. This book was like $380. I was like, oh,
such a fucking racket.
So I found it on eBay. Remember that back then was eBay was the spot. So eBay was $40, and it was like the paper was like thin. If you held up the light, you could see through, but it still worked. It was still a book. And I remember the teacher's like, see this? I was like, well, yeah. They're like, this is not the
official version,
official edition. I was like, okay, is this still the same? He's like, yeah, but the publisher loses money. I said it was $380.
I think the publisher's doing just fine.
Yeah, and they're like, but they're losing money because they make these for. Then he told me they make them for like underprivileged nations, and they send them out, and people steal them and sell them for a profit on eBay. I was like, well, I'm looking out for my wallet, not the publisher's wallet. And he's like, well, I mean that's a fair statement. Okay,
I don't get who thought that. I mean, how well they keep getting away with it. How are we trying to college kids don't have any income. How are we charging and asking them to buy $800 of books? It's fucking insane.
And then what you would do is you would try to resell them back in at the end of the year, and it was like
$12. $12.
I remember one guy was giving me $1 because this is the old edition, but they would just change a couple letter words here and there, and they would just
they add one chapter. It's a fucking scam, dude. Or the trick that you could do. This is always a risk. A risk I was usually willing to take to get more cash for dip and beer.
Yeah. I guess your priorities straight.
They were. I mean, in my mind, they were perfectly aligned with fun and having a good time. And it would be like 3 to 5 weeks before the class ended, and you would just take a risk of like, have we been using this book a lot or not? If you sell it back before everyone else does, it's like a supply and demand thing, right? Like if you sell it back halfway through the summer when they're flush with inventory, they're going to give you $5. But if you're one of the first ones to sell it back, before the final, taking the risk, you're not going to have the book for the final. But, like you talked about earlier, if we did the math that the grade's going to come out in a good and acceptable range, sell that book back early, get a much bigger take, and you're drinking good that week.
Remember we all said, either it was us or some other hero in the class, like, the first day they'd be going over this stuff, so raise their hand. Are we going to use the book? Like people just ask every time, is the book necessary? Because some teachers are like, nah. I'm like, oh, okay. Some teachers are like, oh yeah, of course.
I appreciate the teachers that are keeping it real. I'm sure they have to include a mandatory text, but I do appreciate if they're just like, you know what? You don't really need the book. If you want to go above and beyond, you can.
Everything that's going to be testing out, but we're going to cover in class. But perfect.
Yeah.
I will not get it.
Yeah.
Now, they'd be like, now, if you need extra assistance and studying, I'm not studying, so.
What is this word study you speak of?
Study?
Can
you define that, please?
Use it in a sentence. Is the book rental thing still that kind of started just as we were leaving college, right? Is where you could just rent the book for $40.
Rent them or something.
Yeah.
I even wonder now. I bet you now you could probably
all be
find
digital,
some
right?
version on fucking Google. You can just Google like the publisher and.
Yeah. That's true. And then there at the state school, a couple of my teachers, particularly the ones I didn't like, it seemed that they would be in cahoots with, McDougall and Sons Publishing, and they do, there's like an abridged little version that they submit curriculum to. So then they get basically a custom book just for their class. And then they start doing the thing every year, like the teacher's getting a cut of.
Yeah, I even had a professor once where we had a book, and it was their fucking book.
Like this,
they were the author.
Padding the numbers.
Fuck you.
Padding the. It's like when Don Jr.'s book came out, and the GOP bought like 300,000 copies to automatically get on the New York Times bestseller list, and then they just give it out.
I would almost say that's socialist. If the government, well, depends on where the money came from.
Probably illegal donations from the NRA. That would be my guess.
All of those donations from C. Heston.
Well, what were we? I've been feeling now that baseball's over, that the post dinner to bedtime gap that we're trying to fill in our lives. There's no good sports on in the like. I don't know. I feel like kind of like the wind's taken on my side.
And this last Sunday was a rough one.
You took a little bit of a beating there on the.
Yeah. No, some Niner fans tried to spout off after they got fucking whooped by a backup QB. Had to put them in their place, but that's besides the point.
And I saw the Packers were not. They didn't do too hot either. But
they're also missing their quarterback.
So, I mean, I don't know how you haven't heard about Aaron Rodgers lying about his vaccination status.
He's immunized. That's the word he used.
Which, come to find out, through some investigative journalism, I suppose, from the Washington Post and the New York Times was where I saw it. But he consulted the medical doctor and TV reality show host Joe Rogan to see what is the best strategy for immunization.
Ivermectin, baby, according to Joe Rogan.
Yeah. So, yeah, and the Packers are getting. They should be quite a bit of fines coming in, right? Because he violated tons of.
I think he got fined $14,000 by himself.
That's throwaway.
I know.
That's like
it'd be like him fine us $5.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
Okay, well, Harry, let me just reach into my pocket and pull it out for you. You can keep the change. I'll give you 10.
What if they do what? I don't know. Do you think adjusting these fines to be percentage of salary? Like, oh, you lose 30% of your salary, or you have to,
Yeah, and on top of that, like it should be like, okay, you couldn't play the game, so what's your salary? So you shouldn't be paid for the game, and then a fine on top of it.
Yeah, it needs to have a negative impact on you. 14,000 to I don't know how much Aaron Rodgers is making. 15 to 30 million a year, probably.
Somewhere in that ballpark. Nothing. I have no idea, but yeah, we're in that range.
I mean, honestly, he's probably paying $14,000 for like all of his car leases. So it's probably nothing to him.
Yeah. And they should do some like heavy, I think they punish a bunch of the Packers like organization for not saying anything either or whatnot, but they should really like have it hit them hard. Like they've done like some crazy punishments before where they like, you could they like took away like a number 1 draft pick and like started doing some.
Oh, is that what they did for the Michael Vick thing? Did they take away draft picks?
I can't remember. I remember it was for, I think it was the Patriots because of deflated gate or one of those fucking things.
Not the hand job thing. They didn't really care. About the hand jobs.
Not.
I mean, does anybody care about hand jobs?
I was like, what? Oh yeah, I forgot about Mr. Kraft.
Yes.
In Florida.
Where else would it be?
Tom Brady was taking hand jobs on the sideline or something? Oh, yeah. Bill Belichick? What the fuck? But no.
That's why Bill has to cut his sleeves off. He gets better range of motion for the...
Nothing interfere with the stroke.
Yeah. You got to have a nice clean stroke on that Tom Brady JO for sure. I mean, how is it? I haven't been paying fuck all attention to NFL. What's
see, your Seahawks and the Niners are battling for last place.
Oh Christ. Not good.
The Rams and the Cardinals are the Cardinals are in first, they're 7-1, and the Rams are 7-2.
Cardinals?
Yeah, dude, they're good.
Wow. Is Fitzgerald still
who? Yeah,
this might be his last year, or he might have retired.
I don't know. He may have. I don't know. Last time I checked on him, shit, because I don't play fantasy, so I don't really follow too much. He wasn't feeling like he wanted to play this year because he's
just over.
He can do it.
He's got to be getting close to his 40s, right?
Yeah, he's got to be in his mid to late 30s.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been doing it forever.
What do you I don't know. I think this is what I think will get Tom Brady at some point. I mean, I think he can keep his body in shape to play.
They always do that shit where they're like, "Oh, Father Time doesn't seem to catch Tom Brady." It's like, it don't matter. He catches ass eventually. You can't outrun that motherfucker. That's the one guy you can't outrun. Father Time.
I mean, I can't imagine the beating that your body takes in an NFL game as a premier quarterback, but waking up Monday morning, like how achy and sore you must be, like that's just got to get fucking old, right?
I got my booster shot. My wing's a little clipped today. I feel sore. I can't imagine taking a fucking shot from like a 350-pound lineman.
or getting sacked like on the blind side and just like turn into like collapsing like a cheap tent or something. And I'm looking forward to like Cerny when I get my booster. Got the sick day all dialed in for that one. Just I can't really type effectively with one hand, so I got a lot of brain fog.
Gotta take a personal day.
Got to take a personal day.
Jeffrey got his first shot.
Nice.
So that was yesterday. Then today I was like, all right, well, when he wakes up, we'll see how he is.
How was
he's like he's doing like barrel rolls in the bed, and he's like wrestling the dog. I was like, he's good.
Was he's a bit older. We're still in the shots heard, and I got to cry every time when the shots happen. But
He got a little like he was like dusty eyed before the shot.
Yeah, it's just a building of nerves.
Yeah, that's why I said it ain't gonna be that big a deal.
Yeah,
all right, it's not gonna hurt that bad. I said you've hurt yourself way worse than what you're gonna, and you didn't, but it's like and they were like running late, so you had to like sit in the chair and wait.
No,
I'm like fuck.
Yeah. And they're hustling through it. They're like, okay, is your name? And they just start wiping it, and they're just moving fast, and the kids are like, oh my god, it's happening.
They hit it, and they's like, it's like one of those like, okay, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah,
but I'm sure when he gets the second dose, it'll be restart.
Yeah. And I told my daughter, I said, I used to cry during shots too, but I don't remember what age I was. I just remember one day I'm like, I don't think this actually hurts. I'm going to not cry today. And I put the stake in the ground, and then from then on, I only cry during movies. Musicals. Yeah. So, okay. How did you get you just put your age and everything into the booster, or they didn't really seem to care?
Yeah, go to Safeway. Do it.
Safeway.
Schedule through Safeway.
Okay.
I scheduled online and said, whatever. There's like a little questionnaire thing.
Yeah.
And then I printed out my little consent form, and you walk in, you bring your vaccine card. You got to get your,
right. You got to write another thing on it.
And the little thing, I walked in, handed it to him, handed my insurance card and all the, all that shit.
Yeah.
I said, okay, cool. Just take a seat and we'll call you. And it was like, just kind of weird when you do it the Safeway, because I'm like sitting in the chair and it's like right in the middle of the fucking milk aisles.
You're like, oh, lettuce is on sale?
Like, oh, okay.
Oh, nice.
So then lady called me back. It was quick. She said, all right. And she announced, hey, I'm going to give you, it's a half dose of Moderna. Blah, blah, blah.
Half.
I said, yep. So then, boom, got that. Cool. You got 15 minutes. You can either sit here. If you want to shop, then go ahead and shop. And I had to get some milk and stuff like that. I was like, all right, because I was sitting in the milk aisle.
Inspired.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So then I said, do I have to check back in? She's like, no. I was like, okay, well, I'll just shop and leave.
Yeah. They when I got my one, it was a drive-through. They turned the whole ferry lot in Larkspur, which is this huge, 400 parking lot.
Oh, yeah.
And you basically drive through, and you roll your window down, and they're just like, boop, they get it, and then you get in line, and they have a clock running. And it's like every 15 minutes you just sit in your car, and they're like, okay, you cars can go, and they stop, and you have to wait for 15 minutes because they write your time when you got your shot on your window. There's like this whole process. How are you feeling? I'm like, I'm doing fine. I'm just getting annoyed. I'm sitting here.
I swear I can see. I'm starting to be able to see through the cars. I have to start making X-ray vision.
X-ray vision. Just start looking around.
I went to pick up my phone, and it's stuck to it like Spider-Man.
My spidey sense is tingling. Spidey sense. Yeah, that's pretty good. Well,
but the lady at Safeway says they're doing about 80 to 90
kids
boosters a day right now.
Oh, boosters.
Boosters. Well, and I think, she may have just meant, she said boosters, but it could have been
nice.
Kids, because there's a bunch of kids. There's a whole line of things going on.
Yeah, there's a whole thing. Yeah, well, I feel like, hopefully the kids, hopefully there's enough people that can kind of get us over the next little hump. I mean, I don't know.
You got to carry the weight.
We got to do all the hard work for everybody else. Lazy fucks.
Rob works at the school, and she was like, there's some kids that are, I'm not getting this shot. I'm not getting the vaccine. I said, I told you, you should just keep like a little buck slip in your pocket and be like, and just flip it up like a undercover cop. Like, what's your name? Okay. Okay. We're gonna create a little donkey squad. Hey, donkeys over there on the other side of the playground.
Over there, 6 feet away from anybody. Back, make it 12.
Actually, you guys just go infect yourselves over there.
Yeah, go have a super spreader soccer match. Super spreader dodgeball over there. Let all the
you can't. The kids can say whatever they want because Jeffrey says, "I'm not getting a shot." It's because they're just worried about the shot, not.
Yeah, they don't know. I'm sure there is some. Some kids that just all they hear is their parents ranting and raving against Biden and.
Oh yeah, she said that because kids, there's no secrets. Like there's this one kid.
Oh yeah.
And he was saying like he's not getting the shot, and it's all government conspiracy. This fucker's like second grade, so obviously, right. They're like, oh, my parents, they they make guns and sell them in Nevada. I was like, yeah, take that bugger's name down.
They make guns and oh my god, that's yeah, I can't.
You know that shit's true. They making shit.
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
no, they're definitely.
When you get like some of that stuff, you're like, there's no way that's false.
How could the kid know to make that up?
No,
like,
I know.
There's no chance.
In Nevada. Like,
Nevada.
I bet you had this kid, if you opened up a map and said, point to Nevada, he would point to the fucking ocean.
It probably would. I think it's
right,
blue.
Right in the middle, right in the middle of the United States. He's just going to point there.
It's selling guns, illegal firearm promise. Great.
We make parts. I always like the kids. Like, what do you do?
What part of you? Oh, you carve the little holes out because your fingers are smaller. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, and then it's so people are getting very bent out of shape about mandates, but the fact is that when your kid's in public school, you have 5 or 6 vaccines you have to get anyways.
Yeah, I know that's the weird thing.
So what the fuck's the problem?
So like some of it's like, I hear a lot of like I heard this on a call. If do your research, and I just wanted to interject, but I didn't. Just bit my tongue. I want to ask, how do you do your research? How do you do your research? Where do you get your information?
30,000 double-blind
study. Do you even know what you're researching?
Yeah, I read articles on the internet. Okay, and that's more effective than hundreds of thousands of billions of people have gotten the vaccine at this point. Is that enough research, or do you need more? What research do you need?
It's like what degree do you have to nullify any kind of medical research? I mean, I saw this meme and it was perfect. It was like these are the same people doing their research are the same people that not 6 months ago couldn't even do their fucking kids' homework.
They're complaining about teaching third graders.
They couldn't even do their 6th graders math, and now they're medical scientists.
Yes. Like that.
Some of the gap, they're like, oh, I mean, the vaccine was just so quick. And some of it, I listened to this podcast from NPR, Planet Money. And they talked about a lot of that.
The underlying research for it.
Yeah, they already had a lot of the underlying research because there was, COVID is, this is COVID SARS-2, but COVID SARS, some of these type of strands have been around, just not the specific one. But they said also a big holdup when they're developing vaccines is they have to get it approved and then they'll start production.
Yeah.
But because they don't want to spend a bunch of money on a big pharma doesn't want to spend a bunch of money on shit that's not going to be approved. So they usually wait. But this time around, the government followed them the money, said just produce it, even if we don't approve it.
Yeah.
Here's we're going to cover the cost.
Here's billions and billions and billions and billions.
Alleviate some of that time.
Yeah, it's and the flu shot is made every year because the flu morphs, or it's a virus, so it changes every year. So that's a quickly designed shot or vaccine, if you will. Just the flimsy excuses they have are just so.
But it's always something else, right? It's always something.
Well,
else.
If it's not that, and it's like how many of these scarecrow arguments are you going to stand up before it's not enough? Can't you just admit you're dumb?
Can't you? That's probably not going to happen. They're still waiting for JFK Jr.
Yeah, on the grassy knoll, because I know if I wanted to come back, I'm going to come back where my dad's head was blown off. That seems like a great place to resurge back into the society. It's where my father was murdered.
Yeah, whatever. Hash up that memory.
Oh yeah. This is good. I haven't worked through hundreds of thousands of dollars of therapy bills to try to forget this exact moment and to work through this moment. But I'm going to come back and appear at this place. I'm going
to appear on the grassy knoll, and then when I'm done with that, I'm going to stand on his fucking grave and make a secondary speech. Maybe do a dance on top of it.
Was the Prubiter's kids there? That would be interesting. That would have been funny. We got him.
Yeah.
Well, Cerny, I saw my kids just came home, and my son, whose name is Sonny, just literally walked right in front of me, and I meant to talk to Cerny, but you know how that happens.
Oh yeah.
And I always thought it was so interesting that your parents would call you different people's names and forget your name. I do that all the time.
On the daily.
I call the kids the dog's name. I call the dogs the kid's name. It's I can't get it.
Or you blend the names together.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's horrible. Should get that checked out, I guess. But we did it again. Another great weeks of content. Chalking it up. This is episode 308 of the Chip and Cern Show.
Ooh.
That's a lofty number, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, it is.
I'm not sure how we did it, but congratulations. Congratulations are due. But yes, just be like Cerny. Get your booster if it comes around. If you've not made the decision to vaccinate and you're still listening after we shit on you for the last 15 minutes, make sure you sign up and get that. It's already approved for 5 to 12, so you can get your kids on it now. I'll be doing that as soon as possible. But
yeah,
you always got to keep
co-signed.
It's been co-signed. And until next time, I'm Chip.
I'm Cern.
Cheers.